and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Fox News is panicking over the recent Amazon victory, the ALU, and they're also worried about Starbucks forming a union. So they're right now trying to put on a happy-go-lucky face, but they're scared of what's happening with the people. So let's go ahead and play this first video. Again, huge shout again to Case Study QB. Our good friend Varney is going to be giving his little short comments. So let's go ahead and play this first video.
This one, Amazon reportedly planning to block certain words on its new employee messaging app. Like what?
Take a guess.
Union.
Yes, union, grievance, pay raise. It's a report in The Intercept. And they reported that Amazon was screening such words for this employee app that they are expected to release in just a few weeks. Amazon responds, they say, no, we want a safe space. We're only filtering offensive words, and we might pull the app entirely in the end. It's just an idea. But look, such a hot button issue, right on the heels of the Staten Island, New York, Amazon worker victory, voting to unionize. That was a David versus Goliath battle. David won, and now Goliath is worried about that raw energy. If we can do this at Amazon, well, that could spread elsewhere.
They're worried.
They're worried, and that's why they were reportedly talking about not letting workers talk about unions online.
All right, here's what we're this one.
All right,
Amazon
repeating itself. Now, of course, this has to deal with a recent app that Amazon was giving out to its workers, and one of the words that they couldn't say wasn't a profane word, it was union.
Yeah.
So, but union's such a dangerous word, everyone. But hold on, it gets a little bit more interesting than this, because now here we have Fox News once again bringing up the concerns about Starbucks union, Amazon union, all this talk about unions. But I thought these corporations cared about their people, but I guess not. And Fox News right now is, well, they don't really know how to talk about it that much.
Yeah, they're like, we never thought this day would come. That's why we exist.
There we go. Let's play this first. Let's play the second video. Again, huge shout out to Case Study QB. Follow him on Twitter. He's doing phenomenal work.
Union successes over at Starbucks and Amazon have anything to do with, at least in the case of Starbucks, halting a stock buyback program. Let's go to Dan Springer in Seattle following all these fast-moving developments. Hey, Dan, good to see you.
Well, hey, Neil. Yeah, good to see you, too. Organized labor is definitely making gains right now, and it's interesting. We're seeing this at high-paying tech companies and also at progressive companies that have never had unions before, including Amazon.
And have you heard of any progressive companies?
Not at that size.
I've never heard of. Audience, wait. Let's have democracy.
Let's specify the question though.
Yeah.
Tell us if you've heard of a progressive company that's on a stock exchange. Type 1. No. Type 2.
That's right, democracy. Let's have a little bit of democracy there. So again, folks, maybe we might have been asleep at the wheel, Daniel. We just never heard of a progressive company. I don't know.
Oh, progressive at that size.
Of that size, yes. Thank you. There we go.
That's what I was trying to make the distinction. Because it's an indirect dig at us then. Otherwise,
yeah, that's true. That's.
That's what I'm. Hey, this is why. That's where I'm wrong.
All right, so there we go. Let's play the rest of the video.
Headquarters behind me, Amazon workers at a distribution center in Staten Island made history last week, becoming the first to vote in a union at the company. Amazon spent $4.3 million on consultants to urge workers to vote no, but workers went with the union by a 10% margin. The online retailer defeated a unionizing effort at a warehouse in Alabama. The NLRB found unfair labor practices and ordered a second vote. That one was closer, but also failed. Still, the Teamsters announced a multi-million effort to organize Amazon drivers and warehouse workers. Labor supporters say the timing for the unions is right.
The work is not paying as well. It's not as safe. It's not as stable. And there's increasing discontent.
Starbucks is also seeing workers organize for the first time. 9 stores have joined a union, including one in Seattle near the company's headquarters, and many more votes are coming up. 900 Google workers are in a union aimed at social justice. 2 Apple stores are in the process of filing for a union vote, and the retailer REI now has a union store in New York City. The pandemic is a big reason. Workers were labeled as essential, and they gained a lot of power when 25 million people quit their jobs and companies had trouble hiring. Record corporate profits is also a factor. Amazon, Google, and Apple all had banner years in 2021, and workers want a larger share of the profits. But critics say more union labor in the private sector will make the current inflation even worse.
What's going to happen is everything's going to go up, the prices are going to
Wait,
Here
increase.
comes the fear.
Pause
Here comes
it,
the
pause
fear.
it,
Go
pause
ahead,
it.
pause it.
Anytime workers get anything, every mainstream media outlet always say the same thing. Inflation will go up. Even though that's never happened, it's always literally but it's fine. It's like you can't pay workers more, but if you inject trillions of dollars into these large corporations, that's fine. That won't affect it at all. Also doesn't matter that all of the most of the inflation we're dealing with now is literally corporations going, we can charge more. What are they going to do about it?
Well, again, what really angers me is that this inflation that we're dealing with right now, it was already happening because of the failure of previous administration and of this administration. So inflation was already happening. It's not like, oh, the unions win, and oh, here comes inflation, like overnight. That is a child mentality, and we've seen this from corporate media do it all the time. These corporations earn huge amount of profits. You have covered stories about it. I have covered stories about it. All of our colleagues in independent media have covered stories about it. They're earning profit, but yet these essential workers were exposing their lives, their safety to this pandemic, being treated like crap. I mean, Amazon truck drivers wearing adult diapers. You got Amazon workers working in very dangerous environments and conditions. There was that incident that happened a while back here in Lower Illinois where a giant tornado went into an Amazon facility and those workers had ample time to leave, but what did management tell them to do? Keep on working, not hide in the bathroom when the tornado hits. So there we go. So the thing is, it's only fair and reasonable to see people asking for unions, worker co-ops, so that they're protected, that they have benefits, that they can provide for their families. That's not a bridge too far. It's not something that can't be done. It can be done. And yet Fox News is doing its job because, we got to cause fear porn. We got to cause people to be scared of unions.
It's not even that they're trying to, I mean, sure, they're trying to make people scared of unions, but in the bigger picture, the unions are against the business model that they're trying to push. And so anything that is anti-corporate in any way must be attacked. That's the generic picture that unions just fit into and are seen historically the same way that I'm sure they see like communism. In that they're like, oh my God, we don't get to take as much of this cut of profits as we normally would.
Exactly. Let's play the rest of the video.
Wage is going to increase. There's going to be fewer people available to independent businesses.
Amazon released a statement saying it's disappointed in that union vote in New York.
That old lady, it's like, source, lady we found on the street and asked what she thought of the issue. It's like, I love that in none of these shows, they're like, we're journalists, but we don't ever say what we're saying. We just, like,
wait, Daniel, you didn't do it right. They're journalists.
Yeah. Like, even us, with no budget, we're still like, hey guys, every day we put a show list together so you can see where we got our sources from.
Yep, that's right. Show notes in the description box below. Let's play the rest of it.
York City, but they are keeping all their options open, including possibly filing a complaint against the NLRB, which made some last-minute rulings, which the company said put the hands on the scale in favor of the union. Neil?
I love that. I love Amazon's like, someone put their hands on the scales of this vote. How dare they?
Well, as FaZe is pulling up the next video, and as we get that ready, let's actually bring that up because we have covered that Amazon Union Drive in Alabama and at a few other locations, and there was a shocking similarity where Amazon was rigging the elections and causing some little shenanigans here and there, tampering with votes, bullying people, scaring people. But it's okay. I guess it's okay when they do it.
That's the point.
And then when something doesn't go their favor, they make up something and lie.
When Amazon does it, the workers are lying. Even with they have evidence, the workers are lying. But if the workers do it and there's no evidence because they probably didn't, they don't need evidence because Amazon.
So there we go. Amazon, I think, is trying to pull something out of its butt, and it's not the truth. It's crap. So there we go. Because that's what Amazon likes to do. It likes to lie and bully people, push people around so they can still have their power. We got one last video from Case Study QB. Let's play it again. Follow Case Study QB on Twitter. He's doing phenomenal work. Let's play it.
Thank you to Jonathan Honig on this. Jonathan, you know what's interesting about both the Amazon and Starbucks case is their workers were paid handsomely. Now, not that that should be your only draw, but between benefits and hourly wages at or around or even above $20 an hour, it does beg the question, how is this gaining so much steam?
Well, I think there's a political movement, as Dan pointed out. There's a political momentum towards organized labor. But it's sad, Neil. It's not just frustrating. It's sad because nothing's been better for for the workers than people like Howard Schultz from Starbucks. You know, Starbucks has pioneered so many benefits for their employees, basically transformed what used to be considered McJobs. I mean, he's the Ray Kroc of our era, Neil.
Oh,
Transformed
my
the culture,
ass.
created all that
God, what a
wealth. And I'm
jackass.
bullish on Starbucks, not just because they've cut the buybacks, but I'm bullish on Starbucks. You know, Howard Schultz saved this company back in 2008. He can do it again as long as the unions don't get in the way.
But he's cooled it on the stock buybacks for the time being to focus on those workers. At least that was part of the announcement. So clearly what was going on at his shop, as well as Amazon, telegraphed what would be happening now, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, you know, the criticism of buybacks, Neil, is always that, you know, there's no benefit. It's just financial engineering. But, you know, Howard Schultz is cutting the buybacks because he wants to, reinvest in the company. And that's the whole point. A company like Starbucks, I mean, their success isn't guaranteed, Neil. And right now they're going to have to invest in the whole drive-through element, the whole technological element. You know, Schultz created that third space back in 2008. Well, they have to recreate the company now. And the union, it's not just an expense, but it's a detriment to productivity.
All right, we'll explore that a lot
What a
more with
weak
you the next hour,
defense.
my
He's
friend.
like,
Alan Honig on
it's like
that.
has no purpose, but that's why he's stopping and reinvesting after just saying that he did it because they're trying to deal with the unions. By the way, if that's the case, and the unions, these relatively small amount of union creations, the momentum that it's building, is freaking out Starbucks so much that they're stopping stock buybacks, the unions have already paid for their value.
I want to have this quote here from Optimism of the Will. It says, maybe workers also want dignity. Because how many times have we covered on the show where workers in America have been screwed over, treated like crap? You know, quoting Jimmy Dore, it was a long time ago when workers, you know, a single parent, you know, like a parent could provide for a whole household back in the day. Now, you got families, people who don't have families working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, just to provide for themselves. And it's still not enough because we live in such a crazy world. So the thing is, okay, Fox News is afraid of the unions. And here's what I have to say to these unions. Keep on pushing forward. We should see more worker co-ops. We should see more people stepping up and fighting back and pushing back to build that better future.
I would really love to see more co-ops, especially.
Yeah, that's what we do need to see. Worker co-ops, all for unions, but worker co-ops also need to be stepping up too. Again, shout out to Roger Meadows, who got us on board for worker co-ops. So there we go.